let's see how it goes. So do you want to tell me the dream from start to finish?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so my husband, John, was driving, and someone was in the passenger seat, and in the passenger seat at the foot of at that girl's feet was my newborn baby girl, and I was in the back seat, and we were all heading to a baby shower or a wedding shower of an old friend that I went to grade school with. And at one point, our car became a helicopter, and John was flying it, and we were on a very high cliff overlooking an ocean. And I knew it would take about 30 minutes to get to this wedding or baby shower. And it was a long kind of cliff curve, kind of a half circle. And then we were inside the caves, and everyone was jumping. Oh, the helicopter had become a boat, and everybody was jumping in the water in these like cool rock cliff inside the caves. And the woman that was in the passenger seat, she jumped pretty carelessly, and I had warned her to not jump so carelessly. But because of that, the newborn baby sunk in the water and was drowning. And so I began just completely freaking out. And I said, "Look what you did." And I asked her, go get my baby, but she just didn't really care. Or I don't know what her thoughts were. And at a certain point, I thought, there's no way I can save the baby. So I contemplated suicide because I thought I just can't live like this. But then I remembered my husband, and I thought, well, he just lost a baby. He shouldn't lose his wife too.
Very good.
So I didn't commit suicide on that note. And I think the baby actually ended up being fine. And then basically I had recollection of going into the caves, and on the route to the caves, there was this giant cave off in the distance, and it had kind of an entrance that was this beautiful purple geostone. That was the entrance, really elaborate crystal geostone rock face for the entrance of this massive cave. And a woman that was with me, it was time for all of us to go home. And because she lived at that cave, she was going to be the last one to go.
Okay, so you're in a car with John, and you're in the back seat, and there's a woman with your new baby girl, and you don't have a baby girl. You are pregnant. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
I don't know yet.
Okay. So there's a woman in the front seat with a baby at her feet, is it? Mm-hmm. And then the car turns into a helicopter? Or at this point you're already going to a wedding, is it?
Correct.
Is it? You said a wedding shower. What's the difference?
A wedding shower would be kind of the celebration for the bride before the wedding. But I think it might have been a wedding shower or a baby shower.
Okay, and that's before the wedding, okay. And then it turns into a helicopter, and you're heading in a sort of a semicircle. How do you end up at caves, and how do you end up at the water?
I believe it was kind of en route to the shower that the car changes into a helicopter, and then it somehow goes from a helicopter to a boat, and it's en route that we kind of are going through these caves.
Okay. And how does the baby end up in the water? The woman jumps into the water herself? Are other people jumping into the water?
Yeah, everybody's jumping into the water.
Why?
They just think it's a really cool kind of underground rock water area, so they kind of take advantage of the environment.
And it's nice and a nice environment. Is it bright? Is it what?
There's little light here and there kind of coming through, but it's definitely more covered because you're kind of inside the rocks.
Okay, all right. Well, I think the theme of the dream is fairly straightforward. You're in a car, you're with John. So, okay, your life, he's controlling the direction of your life right now in a strong way because working for Boeing and getting moved to Houston, that's dragged the whole family there. Fair enough. So that's going through your mind. But what's interesting is the fact that it changes from a car to a helicopter to a boat. And it's still going in the same direction. It's still going to the original intended place. So that is saying to you that despite what you think, there's many paths to get to where you need to get to. So you're not on the wrong path. Path is not the right word. It's more like being concerned that you have to do certain things, or you have to go a certain way to get to where you need to be. And the dream is saying, no, you don't. No matter what route you take, or no matter what vehicle you take, vehicle is a better way of putting it. So no matter what mode of apparatus you use to aim for your ultimate goal, you're going to get to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that does make sense.
And is that a question that's been on your mind?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that's what the dream's about, and then the rest is just going to be your throw-ins to make it awkward. I'm joking, no, not to make it awkward, but they reveal things about you. Okay, so you're in the back seat. That's why I said John's. Okay, we already know in reality, and it's not really him per se, although from your perspective it is, because you're married to him. This is why your life is going the direction it's going now. But Boeing are also dragging him to a new place for the second time in a short while. So that's sort of like circumstances happening to you. But the fact that you're in the back seat would imply that you don't feel like you've any control over this whatsoever. And so how is that affecting you as you move forward? What traits did this woman have? I mean, she was kind of careless, but was that a negative trait? Did you have other traits? What color was her hair?
I think that it was blonde.
Okay. So she's going to be a guide in the dream. I mean, you've blonde hair too, but everybody's going to represent you. So it's all about you. But so it's you with this responsibility at your feet. Do you feel like you have your responsibility at your feet at this stage?
I think just with children, I think that's my big thing right now. I mean,
okay. Nothing more?
Well, I mean, I think I also feel a sense of responsibility to myself and my own development and my own growth and helping other people. But I don't know what that means anymore.
Okay. Well, you only got to the important one right at the end.
Oh.
Surprised you said it at all, only because you tend to hold back. But anyway, it's in the dream. So you're going along. You're in the helicopter. Helicopter is about the heart, because it's how a heart sounds, how a mother's heart sounds to an infant while in the womb. Plus, it has the beating, and it's a rotation. The blades rotate, in a circular fashion. You're flying in a semicircle. So all the symbols for the heart are there. So the dream is saying the way forward for you is through the heart, through female energy. And then the purple at the end, the purple at the entrance of the cave, and I think you said they were purple crystals, wasn't it? So they're about your spiritual leadership ability. So that's clear. And because it's a cave, it shows that you came here with this, but it's also something that you haven't really brought out into the open either, because it's still somewhat obscured. Like you said, that the cave was in, there were points of light, but it was still kind of covered, yeah? Okay, so that's the ultimate place you get to, and at that point in the dream, there's a blonde-haired woman who lived there before, and she was going to be the last to leave. So you guys were all going home. Home to where? Your houses, or?
Yeah.
So you never even got to the wedding shower?
I guess not, now that I think about it.
Okay, so you're all heading home, and that's fine. Heading home in a dream is about discovering who you are, I suppose, but it's also going back to the spirit world. But you're this other woman. You said she's in her 50s. It could be an indication of time for you, so you have a little bit to wait. But it's also an indication of the karmic path, so 5-0. So learning about yourself through the 5 senses would be the 5, and the 0 it's a goal. So your path is this spiritual leadership thing, and the last one to go is interesting because it then says, you're here till the end, in the sense of You're here to help other people. And if you've had a question in your mind of, if there's a major spiritual shift coming about, what people are involved and how will the transformation happen, are there some people here to just kick it off, and are there other people that are here to see it right through to the end? And in your case, you're here to see it through to the end. Was that a question in your mind ever at any point?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So even the fact that it was a question in your mind, it's kind of unusual, because I'm sure most people wouldn't even think about those questions. But it just, it still shows where you're at, and shows the dream answering your questions. So the vehicle you take to get to where you need to go, it doesn't matter. So in other words, you can't go wrong. That's really the point of this dream. It's saying you can't go wrong, no matter what path you take, no matter what vehicle. And by vehicle, it really would mean like courses, self-development, etc., etc., etc. More self-development, I think, because of the baby at her feet. So it'll be personal self-development. So no matter what you do, you're going to get to where you need to get to. And that's not like, okay, everything is all the same, do anything you want. You're going to do the right thing. So, I mean, that's good. And then you're here for the long haul. You're here to see this all the way through with your spiritual leadership ability. Is there anything else in the dream? You don't know whether it's a wedding shower or a baby shower, so little point really. What do they mean to you? If it was a wedding shower, it was the one for the women, and baby showers are typically all women as well. So it all emphasizes the female side, like the helicopter, the semicircle, and all that sort of stuff. The way forward is female energy, and spiritual leadership, of course, is female energy. So it's not surprising. So when you get to the point you need to be, you're going to have an open and compassionate heart. Not that your heart isn't open, not that you're not compassionate, but the feeling and the level of openness is going to be new for you. But you'll know it. But that's where it's coming from. So really the relationship thing doesn't come into it, except, so that was good. John gets off the hook. It was just showing the questions about where you're going and are you going in the right place. Now let's address the baby ending up in the water. People jumping into the water, that's fine. That's about you getting into water in dreams, especially the sea, represents spiritual life. Life came from the sea. Life came from the spirit world. That's the analogy. The woman jumps in and is kind of careless, and the baby ends up in the water. Now, that's where you panic. But the baby's meant to end up in the water. You're meant to end up in the water. You're meant to end up in the spiritual field. So you've always had this feeling of, I don't know if Michael's got it right, or I don't know if anybody's got it right, because I'm not sure whether I'm meant to do this. Even though you're hugely drawn to it. You still question it. Wouldn't that be correct?
Yes.
Both, that you're also hugely drawn to it.
Yes.
Okay, so the dream shows, yes, you're getting into this, and you have development to do because it's a baby, and everybody is you in the dream. So this will represent an aspect of you that you can grow, and grow a lot, which is great. If you were to be told right now you're at the top of your game, you'd be like, "Ooh, I'm not sure I can do much." So it's always great to be told you can grow. So it shows the growth, but it also shows that you came here as a child with this in mind. So really important there too. And the baby in the water is actually good. You saying you don't want to live if the baby isn't going to live, it shows the importance of this aspect of your life, that this new thing. It's that important that you may as well not be here if you're not going to be doing that. And it also shows huge change, because, of course, death in a dream doesn't represent physical death. It represents death of aspects of you, so that, other new ones get visibility and flourish and blossom in your life. So I'll have to think more about that one and may add in more. But how do you feel about the move? I mean, the move is new. You're only in your house, 2 days?
Right.
Yeah, so, and you left a few weeks ago. So things are very much up in the air, just like in the helicopter, as you're heading to where you're going. But how do you feel about where life is taking you, looking at the suicide aspect in the dream. Does it depress you? Or, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but relating it to the dream, how can what are your feelings around it? And I don't mean right at this moment, but like the ups and downs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there are definite moments of like, am I in the right place? Like, looking around a big new city and not knowing anyone and not really knowing, not having my own momentum for my own life. I just sort of been pulled along by my husband's career. Yeah. It does leave you kind of wondering, okay, am I really am I in the right place? Where am I going? I think before I felt like this sense of, okay, these steps make sense, I met these people and then this kind of happens and now there's none of that. I don't know what's going to happen and I don't know. I'm very blind.
Okay. And that's fine. That's what, so the suicide in the dream is really like, oh, is it worth it? Is it worth it at all? And it only relates to the subject matter of the dream, not to your life. So the subject matter is your spiritual teaching purpose, et cetera, et cetera. So it relates to that, I'm going to kill that. That's not worth it. I'm not even going to pursue it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just shows that you're hitting those bumps. But that's absolutely normal. There would be something wrong with you if you didn't. So, I mean, that when you look at it consciously, you go, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we're bound to hit this. I mean, you've just recently, and this is a bit of background for people, you've just recently moved from Amsterdam back to America and then now to Houston. And this is only a stint as well. You're going to move from Houston in a few years.
Yeah.
So, fun. What's life in a traveling circus like then? Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else in the dream? It's addressing two questions, two big questions, and answering two big questions. One, that it's okay, it doesn't matter the vehicle you take, doesn't matter how you grow yourself to get to where you need to be. So the way to look at it is it doesn't matter how you grow yourself. So whatever you do, you're going to do the right thing. And that means that if you do pick up something that you're not meant to do, you'll lose interest and you will do the right thing. So you don't have to worry about that. So the dream is saying, don't worry about that at all. No matter what you do, you're going to end up, you're still going to go in the direction you need to go. And then the second thing is, when it comes to this huge change in society, you're here for the long haul. You're here to see it through. So two big questions answered, which must be questions that you had in your head.
Absolutely. I mean, that last question, I'm surprised it even hit on that. I didn't see that at all, and that's really interesting and exciting to have answered in that way.
All right. Well, cool.
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, you have children, and I think everybody looks at their kids and thinks, oh, they're the ones that are going to see things change, But I don't know. I always wondered if I would be the one to maybe see things change too.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all your other dreams. You won't just see the change, you'll be a huge instigator. So you're here to help other people who are basically on the ground working the change. You're here to help them. So your role is super important. And of course, your question is always like, yeah, I don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. But that's fine. Your dreams have been persistent about that all the time. And it's fine. And quite often you won't be given what you're meant to do. Same with me. I get readings and they say, oh, okay, wait, they told me, but they said not to tell you because and then they have this right about me. If they say, you're going to end up at this particular bus stop at this particular time in your life, I'll just take the bus that goes straight there. And they're saying, no, that isn't how it works. You've got to have all these experiences that have to happen you before you get to that bus stop. And I understand that, but I also understand that I would look at the shorter route and say, can I go there? So you probably are a bit afflicted like me. So
Definitely.
So, okay, well, thanks for participating in this, and hopefully it turns out well. But
thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay, bye.